You didn't start out wicked. You started out trying to breathe. That's the scandal no one tells you. What you call sin is often a fast, clever answer to an impossible moment. An emergency tool that worked just well enough to keep you alive, then stayed long after the fire was out. The damage was never in your hunger for relief. It was in the calibration of the tool. So let's say it plainly. You are not a villain. You are a nervous system that solved a problem quickly and is still using yesterday's solution in today's landscape. If you can stomach that much compassion, you can learn the one skill that changes everything, retiring a strategy without hating the self that built it. Think back to your origin scenes, the ones you rarely narrate in public. The kitchen where silence meant danger and noise meant attention. The bedroom where loneliness stared like a bright ceiling at 2 a.m. The classroom where perfection bought you permission to exist. The sanctuary where goodness was a performance with points. In those rooms, your body made contracts. When I feel this, I'll do that. Numb to survive. Control to avoid chaos. Escape to feel alive. Attack to stay safe. At the time, these were not sins. They were exits, and exits are holy when the building is burning. But here's the dark psychology of sin. Quick relief trains loyalty. The first time you scroll, drink, lie, flirt, judge, or overwork, and it works, even a little, your mind stamps it as a path. The loop is simple. Trigger, tension. Fast relief, micro shame. Hidden cost. Repeat. Shame pretends to be a coach, but it only buys you secrecy. What hides can't be trained. So we won't preach at you. We'll upgrade you. The project is calibration. Keep the intelligence that once saved you. Strip the collateral damage that keeps you small. If you're waiting for thunder or threats, you won't get them here. Threats train fear, and fear trains compliance, not freedom. I'm interested in something slower and stronger, agency that survives 3 a.m. Let's reframe the villain. Sin is not proof that you are bad, it's proof that you are brilliantly biased toward short-term survival. Under pressure, you bartered tomorrow to pay for today. Of course you did. Pain shrinks your future and widens your appetite. The faster the relief, the safer you feel until the bill arrives, and the bill always arrives. Sleeplessness, distance, lost time, eroded trust, the regret you narrate as character when it was really just skill gap. This series is not about flogging the past, it's about building capacity in the present. We will map your loops without drama, design replacements that give relief now and integrity later, and practice tiny repairs that rebuild trust faster than your shame can spend it. You'll learn to bless the intention, protect me, soothe me, let me matter while retraining the behavior. Before we do any of that, I want you to make one quiet promise to yourself. I will not call myself names while I learn new tools. Name-calling is a child's version of accountability. You're graduating to the adult version, data and decisions. Take a breath, loosen your jaw, unhunch your shoulders. Feel how the body listens before the mind agrees. You've been trying to out-argue urges that were designed to fire faster than thoughts. That's not a moral failure, it's a latency issue. We will work with the timing, not against it. If the word sin still stings, keep it. Don't sand it down. Let it mean what it has always meant at its root. Missed the mark. Not evil, off target. We're going to move your aim a few millimeters at a time until what once felt inevitable starts to feel optional. That's when freedom stops being poetry and becomes muscle memory. I'm not asking you to believe in yourself. I'm asking you to notice yourself. Notice the first electrical flicker before the old move. Notice the tiny window where you could choose an inch differently. The window is there. It has always been there. You just haven't had a handle to grab. By the end of this journey, you'll have handles. A simple scan to catch the loop early. A twin-win rule to choose replacements that actually stick. And micro-atonements that repair without theatrics. But for now, Hold one idea like a thread between your fingers. The thing that ruins you first rescued you. Pull that thread gently, and the knot begins to loosen. Respect the part of you that built the old tool. It was resourceful. It was fast. It was trying to love you the only way it knew. Thank it. Then tell it the truth. We're not in that room anymore. If you can say that without flinching, you're ready for the next part, where we rename the dragon and show it where to sleep. You weren't born scheming. You were born reaching. Before you had words, your body knew one command: survive. So when the world ran hot, too loud, too cold, too absent, your nervous system did what all honest machines do. It optimized for the fastest relief. That optimization is what you later learned to call sign. Let's rename the dragon. Not wickedness, not doom. A survival script, a reflex with good intentions and bad side effects. When you see it that way, your story stops sounding like a trial and starts sounding like a training montage. Picture this: a child in a kitchen where calm means danger because storms always broke the silence. In that house, hypervigilance wasn't a flaw, it was radar. Or the schoolyard where teasing felt like visibility, and visibility felt like safety. In that ecosystem, chasing attention wasn't vanity, it was shelter. Your adult labels arrived later. Your body just kept the receipts. Kahneman would call this System 1, fast, efficient, life-saving, also reckless when left unchecked by its slower sibling. Jung would call it shadow. The parts of you that negotiated with darkness so the rest of you could keep a face in the light. Neither is a verdict. Both are a map. Here's the contrarian truth you've avoided because it sounds like an excuse. Most of what you condemn in yourself worked. It reduced pain on contact. The drink loosened the knot. The lie bought you time. The porn deadened the ache. The perfectionism made you indispensable, at least for a while. Sin rarely advertises as evil. It shows up as help with hidden financing terms, relief today, interest forever. So you've been paying. In hangovers and hollow victories, in friendships you could have had if you weren't so defended, in nights you could have slept if you weren't so wired, in love you could have received if you didn't keep negotiating for control. Shame tells you this balance sheet proves you're broken. I'm telling you, it proves you're teachable. Let's get specific. Your so-called laziness? It's a body that learned idleness as armor, because every time you started, someone punished your spark, your cruelty. It's protection rehearsed as performance. Hit first so they won't see you flinch. Your hunger for status. It's a compass miscalibrated by early deprivation. Applause is oxygen because attention once meant you'd be fed. The behavior is costly. The intention underneath is sane. Keep the intention. Retrain the tool. This is how we begin. Name what the script was for, not just what it did. When you want to numb, say it plain. I'm trying to feel safe. When you polish something to death, admit the prayer. I'm trying to avoid humiliation. When you go hunting for eyes on you, confess the architecture. I'm trying not to be erased. Do you feel the temperature drop when you speak it that way? That's dignity returning. You're not bargaining with a judge anymore. You're negotiating with a designer. And the designer is you. But a warning, the ego is cunning. It will try to rebrand sin as identity. I'm just a passionate person. I'm built different. I'm a lone wolf. If you swallow those lines, the script hardens from coping into character, and character calcifies into fate. Don't let language lock you in. Use language to loosen you. This is a tool I picked up in a storm. It worked then. It costs me now. You might protest. If I stop hating my sins, won't I indulge them? Number. Hatred fuels secrecy, and secrecy is the oxygen of relapse. Respect drains secrecy. When you respect the intention under the act, you can put it on the table under bright light. You can measure it, modify it, and When you're ready, retire it. So rename the dragon and it shrinks, not into a pet, into a project. Try this micro practice the next time you feel the old magnet pulling. Name the trigger. Where are you? Who's here? What does your body feel? No poetry, just facts. Name the promise. What is the old tool offering you in 10 words or less? Numb the noise. Win the room. Don't be left. Name the price, the smallest real cost it charges later. Fog tomorrow's focus. Erode their trust. Reset progress to 0. Name the need. Safety, belonging, competence, rest, truth. Choose one. You've just moved from myth to mechanics, and mechanics are coachable. There's another trap here. Moral theater. The place where you perform penance instead of practicing change. You know it well. Dramatic vows, public declarations, week-long detoxes that end with private binges. That isn't transformation, that's reputation management. We're not doing theater. We're doing engineering. Quiet, iterative, boring. Until it isn't. Let's end this section with a simple creed you can carry into the next rooms. I am not fighting a monster inside me. I am updating a machine that tried to keep me alive. When you hold your life like that, you stop swinging and start calibrating. And calibration, patient, precise, relentless, is how survival becomes wisdom. Hold this image as you walk forward. The same hands that grip the shortcut can learn a longer grip. The same mouth that lied to buy time can tell a clean truth and earn it. The same appetite that binged to feel alive can learn to savor and build a life worth tasting. Nothing essential is lost by renaming the dragon. What's lost is confusion. Keep the intention. Retrain the tool. In a moment, we'll turn from names to knobs, from confession to controls, so you can feel the first click of relief and integrity at the same time. Stay with me. You don't reach for the shortcut because you're broken. You reach because the room is on fire. Pain shrinks your future down to a pinhole, and through that pinhole, everything urgent looks holy. In the heat, your body votes now, not later, not legacy, now. Dopamine is the promise chemical. It spikes for anticipation more than possession. That means the chase is often sweeter than the catch, the scroll better than the stop, the text better than the talk. Your brain marks moving toward as survival, so you keep moving even if you're sprinting in circles. Under pressure, you barter tomorrow for a coupon today. You call it discipline when you resist and failure when you don't. But most nights it isn't morality on trial, it's math. The equation is rigged by state. High stress taxes your prefrontal cortex, the part that cares about Thursday, so the auction goes to the loudest bidder. Relief. Relief has a fast voice. It says, 2 more videos, 1 more drink. Say the sharp thing first, apologize later. Relief is a genius negotiator. It doesn't need you to agree forever. It just needs you to nod for 60 seconds. And once you nod, the loop pays you in tiny coins, micro pleasures that feel like proof you chose right. You didn't. You chose narrow. That's different. Here's the mechanism, without the moral costume. Trigger, a jolt, rejection, fatigue, uncertainty, boredom, praise you don't trust. Tension, your chest tightens, thoughts speed, options collapse. Fast relief, you do the thing that reliably changes your state. Scroll, snark, snack, shop, show off. Micro shame. A quiet whisper says, this isn't it. Hidden cost, sleep debt, trust debt, time debt. Interest accrues in silence. Cue reset, the same life that hurt you yesterday knocks again. Around you, people name this loop sin, as if a verdict. But verdicts don't teach, loops do. The loop's a teacher in a bad mood. Gabor Mate's invitation is simple. Don't ask, why the addiction? Ask, why the pain? When you ask that, the map changes. Quick relief stops being a character flaw and starts being a signal. I'm overclocked. I'm lonely. I'm under-resourced. I'm scared to feel this sober. Think of your survival system like a thermostat in an old house. It isn't evil. It's touchy. A draft of uncertainty blows through and the heat cranks to max. You don't argue with the radiator. You learn where the drafts are and you insulate. That's why your bad habits cluster at certain hours, rooms, and faces. The thermostat remembers 11:30 p.m. with an unclosed tab. The coworker who weaponizes silence. The kitchen after you promised yourself a better day. These aren't random, they're coordinates. Another piece of physics. What reduces uncertainty now will be preferred, even if it increases suffering later. Perfectionism feels safer than progress because it offers certainty. This won't be criticized if I delay. Rage feels safer than grief because it offers certainty. I'm not small, I'm strong. Numbing feels safer than naming because it offers certainty. I won't feel this if I blur it. Your nervous system is not persuaded by lectures. It is persuaded by experiences of I did something and I didn't die. That's why white-knuckling fails in the long arc. You can hold your breath for a minute, not a life. The body wants a new proof, not a new promise. Let's make it concrete. You come home late. The house is dim and blue. Your shoulder blades are tight, vision a notch narrower. Old you reaches for the phone because the phone never argues. The first clip is a laugh, the second is a sigh, the third is nothing, which is somehow worse. Yet the loop is working because you're not thinking about today's humiliation anymore. That's the contract. Forgetfulness in exchange for tomorrow's fog. Or you're cornered in a meeting. Someone questions your numbers, your lungs go shallow. Instead of, I'll clarify, you go to dominance theater. You win the moment and lose the month. Why? Because aggression buys certainty. No one can confuse you with less than if you make them smaller first. That's relief dressed as righteousness. If you can name the physics, you can name the price. Quick relief isn't free. It charges principal, not interest. You pay with the exact thing you claim to want. Trust, time, health, voice, depth. And still, the point is not to hate the part of you that grabbed the life raft. Respect it. It kept you floating when you didn't know how to swim. But a life raft in a calm harbor becomes clutter. You can outgrow a raft without spitting on the sea that once tried to take you. So hold this in your mouth like a seed. You were clever under pressure. Clever saved you. Now it's miscalibrated. Clever under pressure becomes clumsy under peace. We're not erasing you. We're upgrading the tool. Shame is not your conscience. It's a counterfeit coach, loud, theatrical, and strategically useless. It promises transformation and purchases paralysis. It tells you the whole problem is you, so you hide. And what hides can't be trained. You do not need a harsher judge. You need a better instructor. Here's the first clean cut. Guilt is about behavior. I did something misaligned, while shame is about identity. I am the misalignment. Guilt can guide repair. Shame collapses the learner into the mistake and welds them together. Under shame, your nervous system armors up. You go foggy or defensive or both, and when the armor goes on, the lesson can't get in. You know this already in your bones. The morning after a slip, the inner prosecutor stands, points, and recites the case file. You always. You never. It feels like motivation, but it's a sugar rush with a crash. Roy Baumeister's work on willpower shows self-control runs on a limited budget. Punishment burns through the very fuel you need to change. Kristin Neff's research on self-compassion lands the same arrow. Kindness isn't a free pass, it's the stable floor where accountability can stand. You don't learn faster by hating the student. So we stop letting shame run your practice. We retire it like a bad manager and hire precision. Precision asks 3 questions in a calm voice. What was the trigger? Where were you? What was the time? What was the body feeling? Name it like weather. Tight chest, 11:40 p.m., doorway light, loneliness. What was the old tool? The quick relief move your survival brain grabbed. Numbing, control, escape, aggression. No drama, just mechanics. What was the real need? Safety, rest, belonging, competence, truth. The need is never a sin, the strategy might be. When you switch from verdicts to variables, you step out of court and into a lab. Labs are where errors become data and data becomes design. The 90-second amnesty. The moment you notice the spiral, call a brief ceasefire. Shoulders down, jaw unhooked, eyes to the horizon. Slow exhale, longer than the inhale. Tell yourself softly, I'm teachable right now. Neuroscience would nod. Downshifting physiology widens your thinking window. You just bought yourself back from the brink. Trade poison for parameters. What one parameter could change the outcome next time? 10 seconds more friction on the old tool. Sign out, move the app, leave the room. 10 seconds less friction on the new one. Water on the desk, apology template drafted, walking shoes by the door. Shame screams for grand gestures. Design whispers, make it easier to do the right thing. Speak to yourself like a trainer, not a tyrant. A good trainer is specific and brief. Here's what happened. Here's what we'll do next time. I'll see you tomorrow. Give yourself language that leaves the door to practice open. Try these lines. The intention was safety. The effect was harm. I'm updating the tool. 1 repair beats 10 rehearsals of regret. I'll send the message now. I'm not a problem to punish. I'm a system to tune. If you're worried that mercy will make you soft, test it. For 1 week, replace every self-insult with a concrete adjustment and a micro-atonement. Watch what happens to your follow-through. My bet, it rises because dignity fuels repetition. A quick word to your shadow. Shame loves certainty. It gives you a clear identity, the failure, and a clear script. Hide. Precision is scarier at first because it asks you to stay visible while you get better. But visibility is where skill is built and trust is earned. Courage isn't the absence of self-critique, it's choosing useful critique. So here's the new ritual when you stumble. Admit fast, assess gently, adjust concretely, atone proportionally, and then return to the work. No flogging, no performative vows, no setting your hair on moral fire. You are not trying to erase your shadow. You're trying to integrate it so it stops running the controls. Remember, shame's job interview sounded persuasive. I'll keep you in line, but its resume is empty. The only thing it coaches reliably is secrecy. Today you promote a new lead, clarity, design, practice. Bless the old manager for trying, give them a cake, and walk them out. Keep this mantra near. Precision over poison. Bless the intention, retrain the behavior, repair the bond. That's how you turn a sin from a sentence into a signal. Next, we'll make this practical by upgrading the 4 survival sins one by one. Numbing, control, escape, and aggression, so your nervous system has replacements ready before the moment hits. You don't sin because you're monstrous. You sin because you're brilliant under pressure. Your nervous system is a mechanic in a burning garage, grabbing whatever tool is closest. These are the 4 you reach for most. Each has a noble intention. Each charges compound interest. 1. Numbing, when mercy arrives as anesthesia. You reach for the dimmer switch, a drink, a scroll, a binge, a blur. You call it checking out, but it started as checking back into your body, anything to shrink the noise. You weren't chasing pleasure, you were chasing less pain. That's noble, that's humane. In a loud life, silence is medicine. But anesthesia doesn't choose what it numbs. It deadens dread and wonder. It mutes anxiety and desire. Hours dissolve into the carpet, and you wake up with a heavy, slippery guilt, unrested, unmoved, unmade. The thing you escaped is waiting at the door with interest. Listen for the first whisper, "I'm overwhelmed." That's the truth under the urge. Honor it. The urge is not your enemy. It's your early warning system, and we will give it a better tool. 2. Control. When safety impersonates perfection, you armor up with lists, rules, spreadsheets, and holy shoulds. You adjust every knob in the room and call it excellence. Underneath is a trembling prayer. If nothing moves, nothing can hurt me. Control is a love letter to your frightened parts. I won't let chaos win. But control is a jealous bodyguard. It starts protecting you from the very people and experiments that would grow you. Everything brittle cracks. You start mistaking tightness for virtue, tension for care, and judgment for discernment. Your world narrows until only you fit inside it, and even you struggle to breathe. Notice the flinch when someone else touches the plan. Notice the spike in your chest when an outcome is late. That sensation is your cue that safety has been outsourced to certainty. And certainty is a tyrant with soft hands. 3. Escape. When wonder is hijacked by novelty. Your life feels too small for your spirit, so you punch a hole through the ceiling. New project, new flame, new city, new you. For a few glittering hours, altitude returns. You can see your life from above, and it looks fixable. You weren't running from responsibility. You were running toward aliveness. But when novelty becomes a religion, depth is the heretic. You collect first chapters and abandon plot. You outsource meaning to applause, and the crowd is moody. The fantasy you chase keeps rewriting its terms. More shine, more eyes, more speed. You don't fall out of love with your life. You just never stay long enough to meet it. Feel the first liftoff in your belly. That helium of possibility. It's not wrong, it's raw material. The task is to aim it, not drown in it. 4. Aggression. When tenderness cosplays as armor. You strike first. A sharp tone, a cleaner argument, the kind of honesty that feels like a weapon. You tell yourself you're allergic to nonsense. You call it just being real. Underneath is a vow. No one will make me small again. Anger is your body's way of saying, I matter. But aggression collects tolls at every bridge. People start listening for impact, not meaning. Intimacy becomes a negotiation with a grenade. You win the moment, but lose the room. The child in you is safe. The adult in you is alone. Catch the microsecond before language hardens. There's grief hiding in your jaw. There's a need under the volume. The longer you defend the castle, the less you remember what you were trying to protect. Your move from here. Don't throw away the wrench because it bruised your hand. Bless the intention. Retrain the behavior. In the next part, we'll engineer replacements that offer both immediate relief and long-term integrity. Tools that work in a fire and don't burn the house when the fire is out. For now, practice a simple sentence each time the urge rises. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. Let's find a smarter way. Say it softly. You're not battling a monster. You're negotiating with an old friend who doesn't know the war has ended. You don't need a harsher conscience. You need better instrumentation. Tonight, let's put the guilt down and pick the pen up. Your life is not a courtroom. It's a lab. We're going to run a tiny experiment called the 3-column calibration scan. 3 honest lines that turn chaos into coordinates. Column A. Trigger. Say what actually happened and where it landed in your body. No poetry, no judgment. Email from my boss. Heat behind my eyes, jaw tight, heart fast. Facts, not verdicts. When you name the signal, you stop being dragged by it. Column B. Old tool. Describe the thing you reached for to feel okay, the fast relief. Opened 3 tabs, snapped at my partner, scrolled, poured a drink, preached perfection. Keep it boringly specific. This is not a confession booth, it's inventory. Column C. Real need. Translate the urge into a need a grown version of you can meet. Safety, rest, belonging, competence, truth, progress. I needed to feel safe. I needed 5 minutes of silence. I needed one clear next step. The moment you name the need, your power returns. Tools can be changed. Needs do not have to be negotiated. Read the 3 lines back to yourself slowly. Notice the pattern. The sin is never random. It's accurate pain relief with messy side effects. Precision over poison. Now run the upgrade in real time. Micro pause, 10 breaths. Let the exhale be longer than the inhale. Unclench your jaw. Soften your gaze. You are telling your nervous system, we are not in a burning building. Instant relief. Zero shame. Name the next visible step. Not the project, the step. Draft 2 bullet points. Set a 15-minute timer. Text, I need 10 minutes to gather myself, then I can talk. When steps get smaller, you get larger. Swap the tool, keep the intention. If you reached for numbing to feel safe, keep the safety, change the method. Tea and a timer instead of a bottle and a blackout. If you reached for control to feel capable, keep the competence, change the method. A checklist, not a crusade. If you reached for escape to feel alive, keep the aliveness, change the method. 10 minutes of awe on budget, then return. If you reached for aggression to feel protected, keep the protection, change the method. Firm words at a humane speed. Micro stakes. Miss this scan, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. Do this scan, and you'll start collecting wins you actually earned. Quick example, make it yours. Trigger, late night email. Stomach drops, shoulders up. Old tool, doom scrolling until 1 a.m. Real need, safety plus closure. Upgrade, 10 breaths. Write 2 bullet points for tomorrow's reply. Set, do not disturb. Light out. You'll be tempted to dramatize. Don't. Drama is just delay in fancy clothes. We're building a different reflex. Curiosity over condemnation. If you slip, you haven't failed. You've gathered data. Run the scan sooner next time. Shrink the distance between urge and naming until your body trusts you again. Remember the rule: 1 slip, study it. 2 slips, add friction. 3 slips, ask for help. That's not weakness, that's engineering. Say this with me, out loud if you dare. I replace judgment with measurement. I train tools, not shame. Hold that thought. In the next part, we'll turn these measurements into a twin-win plan that feels good now and builds a future you respect. Your worst habits aren't moral verdicts, they're physics. Pain seeks the shortest exit. Your body offers a door, you take it. The bill arrives later. Have you noticed how the same 5 moves keep reappearing, dressed in different clothes? Trigger, tension. Fast relief, micro shame, hidden cost, back to trigger. Not because you're wicked, but because the machine paid out once and your brain remembered the jackpot. Trigger, a look, a message, the 4 p.m. drop in blood sugar. Your stomach tightens a few millimeters. Your breath shortens by a few threads. Nothing dramatic, just enough for your survival system to whisper, now. Tension. The world narrows. Options collapse from many to one. Thinking goes dim. System 1, fast, protective, impatient, grabs the wheel and says, I've got this. And you're grateful because it means you don't have to feel quite so much. Fast relief. The old tool slides in. Scroll, sip, swipe, spike, snap. A predictable micro-euphoria clicks like a seatbelt. You exhale. For a tiny moment, the room is kinder. Micro-shame. Not a thunderclap, a flinch, a half second of really. You push it down because you're handling it. But shame is interest the nervous system charges on borrowed relief. It compounds quietly. Hidden cost, sleep debt, frayed trust, stalled work, a self-story that erodes confidence grain by grain. The cost is delayed just enough to keep the lie believable. This time was necessary. And then, another trigger. The loop doesn't chase you, it waits. It knows you will circle back. Here's the contrarian truth. You don't break loops with bigger morals. You break them with better mechanics. Virtue without design is theater. Design without virtue is manipulation. You need both. Value to steer, structure to stick, but here's the snag. The loop gives you a win now. Any replacement you choose must also offer something now, or your brain will never check it out again. Miss this, and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. So let's name the parts in your language. The spark, trigger. What happens outside you? The swell, tension. What happens inside you? The shortcut, fast relief. What you do automatically. The sting, micro-shame. The tiny truth you try not to see. The shadow tax, hidden cost. The invoice with your name on it. Hold that map. We'll use it to reroute. Your brain is not persuaded by accusations. It is trained by repetitions. Habit science calls it cue routine reward. The reward is rarely the thing. It's the state change. You weren't craving sugar. You were craving safety. You weren't chasing the notification. You were chasing matter. You weren't picking a fight. You were picking power back up off the floor. What if the thing you avoid is the doorway to the state you keep trying to buy on credit? What if the path out isn't shame, but specificity? Here's specificity. Name the swell, not the story. Jaw tight, breath high, heat in chest. Sensation is trainable. Narratives are infinite. Ask the honest question, what relief am I purchasing? Not what vice am I committing. Relief, belonging, certainty, competence, rest, truth. Pre-install an equal or better swap, something that delivers a quick down-tick in tension and preserves your long game. Your quiet isn't weakness, it's leverage. A 90-second downshift plus one visible step will outperform an hour of performative guilt. Have you noticed how your urges peak and pass if you give them a runway and a task? 90 seconds of slow exhale, soften the eyes, unclench the jaw. Then a 2-minute winnable action. Send the one email, wash the one dish, name the one fear out loud. The loop expects you to freeze or flee. It cannot compute small, decisive movement. But here's the part your shadow won't like. You must reduce the friction for the swap and increase it for the shortcut. Put the old tool 10 seconds farther away. Put the new tool 10 seconds closer. Move the apps, move the bottle, move your shoes. Mechanics are merciless, and that's a blessing when your willpower is tired. You might say, I've tried before. Yes, and your past attempts were moral marathons launched from exhaustion. This is different. This is engineering. You respect the loop by out-designing it. Let me give you a line to pocket when the spark hits. I'm not escaping, I'm regulating, on purpose, with a timer. Language is leverage. Say it quietly. Mean it. We'll crack the replacements in detail in a minute, but for now, tattoo this principle. Twin win or nothing. If the swap doesn't downshift now and build integrity later, it's theater. You don't need theater. You need traction. One more thing. The loop feeds on secrecy. Bring one ally into the light with you, not a confessor who loves your shame, a witness who loves your forward motion. Report the spark, the swell, the swap. Keep it boring. Keep it daily. You are not the loop. You are the engineer. You don't have to feel ready to reroute. You only have to be willing for 10 seconds at a time. Hold that thought. Next, we'll replace shortcuts with tools that make the long path feel closer than the quick fix. Here's the heresy. You don't quit a sin by hating it harder. You retire it by giving your nervous system something that feels good now and makes you proud later. Relief without regret. That's the twin-win rule. If the replacement doesn't soothe immediately, your body will ignore it. If it doesn't honor your values, your soul will. You need both. Mercy in the first seconds, integrity in the hours after. Anything less is a trick. Have you noticed how the old move arrives with a siren and a shortcut? Your attention narrows, your jaw tightens, and the promise is always the same. Just this once. Hold that thought. We're going to offer a trade, one that tastes like relief and cashes out as respect. Soothe and solve. You reach to numb because pain feels too loud. Instead of arguing with your impulse, make it obsolete. First, lower the body's alarm. Longer exhale than inhale. Soften the jaw, widen your gaze, drop your shoulders, let the volume in your chest fall one notch. Then take the smallest visible step that gives you agency. A single dish, a single email, a single sentence. The point isn't productivity, it's proof. Proof that you can move without running away. Contrarian claim. Your calm is not laziness, it's leverage. When your body believes you're safe, your mind stops shopping for anesthesia. Boundaries and play control pretends to be excellence, but it's fear wearing a clipboard. Draw 2 lines. First, boundaries. What actually must be exact because it protects people or purpose. Name it and guard it. Second, play. The sandbox where good enough ships the gift. Give yourself permission to be rough, fast, and curious there. Rigidity breaks, rhythm bends and keeps going. You don't need to tighten the world to feel safe. You need to distinguish the sacred from the sandbox. Bridge. But if I let go, won't everything fall apart? We'll crack that in a minute. For now, test it. Protect what matters. Play with what doesn't. Away on budget escape isn't evil. It's creativity starved of oxygen. You chase status, novelty, or fantasy because your inner sky feels small. Instead of detonating your life, schedule a drop of wonder that doesn't tax tomorrow. Take a different route. Ask a new question. Skim a page from a field you know nothing about. Step outside and look as far as you can. Name 5 distant things. Then return to depth work with a wider chest. The less you chase approval, the more you lead attention. Micro stakes. Miss this and you'll keep paying for problems you didn't choose. Drama, distraction, and the bill for being impressive. Truth at humane speed aggression is the bodyguard for a need that never learned to speak. Teach it language. Keep the volume low and the verbs strong. Use the 3 lines. Here's what I need. Here's the change I'm asking for. Here's a path that would work for both of us. If the other person escalates, you don't have to. Courage without cruelty is still courage. Your restraint isn't weakness, it's range. Have you noticed how telling the truth slowly gets you more of your life back? Precision is faster than force. You can keep the bridge and cross it. The twin-win rule is non-negotiable. Immediate regulation, lasting alignment. Anything that fails either test is another costume for the same old pattern. Bless your old tools for keeping you alive, then show your body a better way to live. Hold that thought, because the first time you try this, sabotage will whisper, too small to matter. That lie keeps the old loop rich. In a moment, we'll install a repair ritual that makes your progress irreversible. Atonement is not punishment, it's precision. You don't need a spectacle to be clean. You need a straight line back to alignment. The point isn't to suffer, it's to steer. You bless the part of you that tried to keep you alive, and then you retrain it. Start by telling the truth in one breath. No theater, no thesaurus. Here's what I did. Here's what it cost. Here's what I'm doing now. That's not groveling, that's governance. You're saying to your nervous system, We correct without cruelty. You repair before you explain. If you broke trust, you bring glue, not a lecture. Name the harm, name the need, offer the path. I missed the mark. I see what you needed. Here's how I'll make it right. If they need time, you give time, because a boundary you respect becomes a bridge you can cross later. Then you rebalance. Sin is often a debt against the domains that matter: health, craft, relationship, truth. Pay a little back immediately. 10 mindful minutes given to the thing you shortchanged, not as penance, but as proof. I invest where I value. The gesture is small on purpose. Mastery is glamorous boredom. Record it. 2 lines only, trigger and new tool. Fatigue, downshift breath plus 2-minute step. Data over drama. You are converting guilt into guidance. Paper turns fog into map. Expect the inner prosecutor to object. It wants a grand sentence, not a quiet correction. Smile at it. Say, the performance is over. The project has begun. You don't need to hate the old tool to retire it. You need a better one within arm's reach. If you wounded someone, widen the repair beyond words. Match the apology with a new constraint. A calendar block, a friction added, an ally informed. The apology is the seed, structure is the soil. Without soil, even sincere seeds die. Keep the body involved. Atonement is physical. Unclench the jaw, lengthen the exhale, open the chest. Move how you mean to live. The nervous system learns from posture what the mind only preaches. When shame returns, as it does when the house is quiet, treat it like a visiting inspector, not a tyrant. Thank you for checking the beams. We've reinforced them here, here, and here. Then return to the work. Momentum is louder than memory. Your mantra, simple and steel-spined. I bless my old tools for keeping me alive. I choose new tools to help me live. Say it softly, say it soberly, and then demonstrate it with one small correction that costs you something and earns you respect. Micro-atonements are how you stop paying interest on mistakes. You stop auditioning for forgiveness and start building reliability. Not perfect, not performative, precise. That's how sin becomes signal, and signal becomes skill. You didn't fail at morality. You succeeded at survival. That's the honest headline. The moves you call sin were the quickest exits your nervous system could find. They worked until they didn't. That's not corruption, that's calibration drift. So we close the loop. Name the old tool without poison. Bless its intention, retire its job, keep the lesson. You're not here to amputate parts of yourself. You are here to reassign them. When the urge arrives, and it will, do not argue with it. Do not worship it. Greet it like weather, real, passing, not in charge. Ask the better question, what value am I trying to keep safe? Safety, belonging, dignity, expression? Then choose the smallest act that protects that value without renting your future. This is not about drama, it's about design. Replace spectacle with structure. Respect is the residue of repeated micro-choices. Keep absurdly small promises. Put friction on the shortcut. Put handles on the long way. Make the honorable thing the easy thing, even if it's only by 10 seconds. If shame tries to speak, let it. Then translate it. I care about who I'm becoming. That's all shame was ever trying to say, clumsily, loudly, off-key. You can hear the melody now without swallowing the noise. Repair what you can, replace what you can't, record what you learn. 3 quiet sentences can move a mountain. Here's what I did. Here's what it cost. Here's what I'm doing now. You will not earn your worth by bleeding for it. You will reveal your worth by building with it. Keep your voice low and your verbs clear. Courage without cruelty. Boundaries without bitterness. Rest without apology. The point is not to never want the shortcut. The point is to become the person for whom the longer road is lighter, because you've laid the stones: breath, boundary, truth, repair. The craving will still knock. The door no longer swings. Remember the creed. I bless my old tools for keeping me alive. I choose new tools to help me live. I will win slowly, daily, kindly, inevitably. You came here ashamed. You leave with a toolkit. The darkness did not vanish. It changed jobs. From jailer to teacher, from enemy to signal, from sin to skill. Hold that thought, because the next knot threads directly through this one. Immature masculinity. The boyhood survival scripts that once kept power close. Dominance theater, emotional outsourcing, goal hoarding, now tax your relationships and your leadership. If this episode was calibration, the next is initiation. The fire stays, the smoke clears. We'll crack that in The Psychology of Immature Masculinity, and you won't want to miss it.